Today, I will be talking about the newest expansion, Descent of Dragons, which I'm doing a little something different for this expansion. So I'm still going to be doing the card review with Grand Paladin of how we've been doing it, with the star rankings and everything. But I'm going to be talking about them without looking at any other people talking about them and getting suggestions to feed into my ideas. I'm going to look at them before I look at any of those with these videos. I'm not going to give card reviews or anything, or rankings, I meant. You know what I mean. So I'm not going to give any stars for any of these yet. I'm just going to kind of talk about them, thinking about maybe where the meta is going to shift to, or kind of if they're going to go into any decks and stuff like that. So let's jump right into it. First card, Glockrond, the Nightmare, which upgrades with Invoke. Invoke is a new keyword, which basically just... So there's going to be cards that say Invoke on it as like a battle cry. And Invoke just does a hero power, pretty much. So, and it only does it for the Glockronds. So there's going to be 5 of them, one for each of the evil classes. So for the Rogue one, so invoking, if you're playing Rogue with this in your deck, you get a Lackey in your hand, which is honestly a pretty decent hero power. I actually think that's pretty solid. And depending on how strong the invoke cards is maybe going to depend on if they're really strong. Even this card though, once it's fully upgraded, drawing 4 cards that cost 0 and equip a 5/2 claw is super freaking strong. So even if the invoke cards are weak, I think this is still going to see some decent amount of play. Now we have the Warlock one, Glockrond the Wretched, and then they always go into the Apocalypse, and then Azeroth's End, as you saw in the other one. Apocalypse, Azeroth's End. Hero power, summon 2 1/1 imps. I think they all cost 7 is what it seems like. So once this one's fully upgraded, summon 4 random demons, equip a 5/2 claw. Well, actually it could be pretty rough if you get a bad roll on it. Boom! 4 blood imps. It's going to be a very sad day for you then. But overall, the hero power is okay. If you're playing a very demon-heavy deck, the 2 imps could be pretty strong. I don't see a demon deck becoming a thing. I'm trying to think what Warlock is right now. I think it's still just Zoo, and this doesn't... Actually, this couldn't... No, probably not. Probably not a Zoo card here. Still not bad. I think it's still pretty good. The Unspeakable, the Priest one. So hero power, add a random Priest minion to your hand, which Priest minions can be pretty strong, to be honest. And once it's fully upgraded, destroy 4 random enemy minions, equip a 5/2 claw. Wow. 4 random enemy minions. That is really good. Like, really good. I see this seeing some sort of play in like a control priest, if that becomes a thing. I don't think there's enough tools for priests to become a control priest right now. Right now it's just combo priest and the quest wall deck at the moment, which I don't see that going in there either. But this could be good for control priest if that does become a thing. So now we're going to go into the more normal cards. Breath of Dreams. 2 cost spell. Draw a card. If you're holding a dragon, gain an empty mana crystal. For Druid, which is weird. Druid doesn't play with dragons too much. But I know there are some dragon cards for Druid coming up. But still, I don't see like a dragon Druid becoming a thing. I mean, this card kind of points to like a ramp type Druid, which really isn't a thing right now. So, the card draw for 2 isn't bad, and then if you're holding Dragon, Empty Mana Crystal... If you got a Dragon, this is flat out better than Wild Growth. Before it was even nerfed, which it's now costing 3. So this is honestly a really strong card. I could see this still seeing play, even if Druids run like maybe 1 or 2 dragons, like Malygos Druid. That could come back with this card in the deck then? I don't know. Dragonbane. 4 cost, 3/5 mech. After you use your hero power, deal 5 damage to a random enemy minion. No, random enemy, not... Why did I throw minion in there? Do you see the word minion? No, I don't, but let's throw it in there anyway. This card is pretty decent, I think. Because every single time you use your hero power, it's basically like a dart trap. Except instead of your opponent using a hero power, you're using a hero power. So I think this is honestly just pretty strong. 4 cost 3/5 really is a pretty okay stat line. And then with that added bonus, I really think it is a decent spot on curve. I don't know if I necessarily see it. It could maybe go into like a mid-range hunter or mech hunt. I don't know. It might go into mech hunter. I think it could go into mech hunter right now. Dragonblight Cultist, 3 cost 1/1, Battlecry, Invoke Glockrond, gain +1 attack for each other friendly minion. Honestly, I don't think this card is that good. I think it's pretty bad. Because, Magma Rager was a 3 cost 5/1. This guy's still going to have 1 health no matter what, which makes him an easy target to anything. Easily killed by anything. And this is a Warlock specific card, so you get to summon 2 1/1 imps. So he is for sure going to be a 3 cost 3/1, which is still pretty bad. You gotta have a lot of other stuff on the board for him to actually be decent. And even if there is other stuff on the board, he still only has 1 health. So I don't see this seeing any play. Dwarven Sharpshooter, 1 cost 1/3. Your hero power can target minions. I honestly think this is a really good card. This is very comparable to the Goblins versus Gnomes one that had the very same effect. 2 cost 2/3 instead. So this one gets out earlier, and a 1 cost 1/3 is always a really good stat line. So I could see this scene play in like maybe like a mid-range hunter. Probably not. I don't know. It's a pretty solid card. It might find its way somewhere. Emerald Explorer, 6 cost 4/8 taunt. Battlecry, discover a dragon. It also has a dragon tag. 6 cost 4/8 taunt is I think that's pretty decent stat line right there. Maybe a little underpowered, probably. Because I'm trying to think. There's the 4/5 Divine Shield Sunwalker, but that's not a good spot. 6/5 taunt, no. No, I think 4/8's a pretty good stat line. And then you also discover a dragon. I think this card is just pretty solid. I don't know what kind of druid deck it would make it into, but it's just a pretty solid card. 7 cost 7/7. Yes, because we always needed 7 cost 7/7 every expansion. 7 cost 7/7 taunt, dragon. Can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Well, I didn't say the name. Evasive Dragonoid. Nid. Draconid. There we go. Not actually. I could see this in some maybe a taunt warrior, taunt control warrior maybe. Because 7/7 taunt that can't be targeted with spells or hero powers is pretty difficult to actually deal with. I actually like that. I think that's a pretty decent card. 3 cost spell. Fiendish Rites. Evoke Glockrond. Give your minions +1 attack. So, there's a lot of stuff that's like getting attack and stuff. after invoking Glockrond, because his hero power is also summoning more people. So I don't know what kind of deck they're looking for with Warlock here, because it's the 7 cost is too slow to go into like a Zoo Warlock. But we'll see. This card is, I think, a little weak, honestly. I don't think it's that great, because it's looking for like a Zoo type deck to be put into, but the invoking Glockrond really goes against it, because Glockrond shouldn't be in a Zoo type deck. So, Lightning Breath. 3 cost Shaman spell. Deal 4 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, also damage its neighbors. This card is really good. Ridiculously good for a control shaman. Because the thing I compare this to is Lightning Storm, which does 2 to 3 to all of the enemy minions. And this card doesn't even overload. So if there's 3 minions on the board, this card is way better to deal with those than Lightning Storm would be. So this card, I think, could go into a Control Shaman very easily. This is an easy shoo-in for a Control Shaman deck. Phase Stalker. 2 cost, 2/3 Beast. After you use your hero power, cast a secret from your deck. This could go into like a Secret Hunter. I apologize. Yeah. This could go into like a Secret Hunter, though. Because I'm trying to think here. Secret Hunter is relatively aggressive, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So using your hero power is probably something that Secret Hunter is already doing. So just a card that gives you secrets each time you do that anyway is really strong. So I think this could go into an aggressive Secret Hunter type deck. Praise Glockrond. Give a minion +1 attack. Invoke Glockrond. I think this is actually pretty decent. Because the hero because this is a road specific card, you're getting a lackey into your hand, which is arguably like a 1 cost ability. And then you also give a minion +1 attack, which is kind of worthless. Really, the point of this card is just getting that invoke off to start upgrading Glockrond more on the rogue one. But honestly, this is a pretty decent card overall. I think this would go into that Glockrond deck. I don't know what that Glockrond deck is going to look like. I think it's going to be more of a heavy hitters deck because of Glockrond drawing 4 cards that cost 0. So maybe try to get a combo type deck out there as well for Rogue. That might be a possibility as well. But we'll see what happens. Seal Fate. 3 cost rogue spell. Deal 3 damage to an undamaged character. Invoke Glockrond. The Invoke Glockrond is always a decent part. But the undamaged character for only 3 damage, I really don't think that's worth it. Because I'd rather play Backstab. Backstab does 1 less damage, but doesn't cost any mana. So I'm trying to figure out what this card is trying to do. Or, on the other side, there's the deal 5 damage to an undamaged character. And I believe that only costs 3 as well, so that's doing 2 more damage for the exact same cost. So I'm just trying to figure out what this card is trying to do. It's trying to do the invoke thing, yes, I get that. But I really think it's like way underpowered than if you're going to do this. I think this card could very much have been placed at probably 2 mana, and it would have been fine. Because dealing 3 damage to an undamaged character really isn't even that strong. So probably putting that at 2 would have been perfectly fine. Shield of Glockrond. 5 cost 4/5 taunt. Battlecry, invoke Glockrond. Really don't have to say too much about this. It's a little understated taunt, but it's not bad. Well, I mean, there's a 4-cost 5/4 taunt, so it's a bit underpowered, but the battle cry of invoking Glockrond is the very important part, which, since it's a neutral card, it can do any of the options we have right now, which I don't know what some of the options will be. Maybe this card will be absolutely ridiculous because one of them has super good hero power. I don't know yet. We'll see when we get there. Twin Tyrant. It costs 4/10 dragon. Battlecry, deal 4 damage to 2 random enemy minions. I really don't think this card is that great. Honestly, what would just flat out make it better is just one word, taunt. Because Mosh Og Enforcer has taunt, has less attack, but has more health. And the reason that's actually a decent card is because it has that taunt. A big body with low attack doesn't do much. Unless you have Inner Fire for Priest, but otherwise this card really doesn't look it looks threatening, but it's really not because it has that low attack and high health. Unless it would have taunt, then it's actually a problem. Battlecry is okay, but it's still not worth playing this. I don't see this seeing much play. Umbral Skulker. 4-cost 3/3. Rogue minion. Rogue card. Rogue something, yeah. Battlecry, if you've invoked twice, add 3 coins to your hand. So if invoking really takes off, this card is insane. Because invoking twice really isn't going to be that tough if it really catches on. And then you just get, basically, you're getting 3 coins. So basically you're playing a 1-cost 3/3. With the precondition that you've invoked twice. So this card is honestly, I think, really good. Veiled Worshipper. 4-cost 5/4. If you've invoked twice, draw 3 cards. Which is also really good. But this is the Warlock one. And as of what I've seen so far, the Warlock one doesn't look like it's going to do terribly good for the invoking. But if there's better ones that do come out, because right now there's the, invoke him and then give your minions +1 attack. Ooh, really not that good. But this card is pretty dang good. Drawing 3 cards for invoking twice, I think is really, really good. Because for 1 more mana, you're drawing basically an extra card. Because I'm comparing it to Arcane Intellect, because that is always the baseline for what we do at this point. 3 costs, draw 2 cards. It's basically the baseline that has been set. 9 cost, 4/12, Druid Dragon, Ysera Unleashed. Battlecry, shuffle 7 Dream Portals into your deck. When drawn, summon a random dragon. That is big. So, how I see this is I actually do see it seeing somewhat of a decent amount of play, actually. Just because of how strong that Battlecry is. It's a good amount of value over time. And plus a 9 cost 4/12 on board really isn't super impressive. It's not that big of a threat right off the bat, but the Battlecry is the big threat part. Because you know the other Ysera where you're actually getting stuff over time? That's a threat because your opponent wants to deal with it as soon as possible so you get less value out of it. Once you turn all that value just into a Battlecry, your opponent doesn't care about that minion because it's not going to do anything else anymore. But that Battlecry is still really strong, which is just going to summon dragons as you play the game. So, I think this could very much see play. This could be the one dragon that maybe goes into a druid deck, and then you can play the Breath of Dreams as well, and you'll be good. I don't know though. We will find out. Azura Explorer. 4-cost 2/3 dragon with spell damage +2. Battlecry, discover a dragon. Honestly, I do think this is a bit underpowered, because we do see a 4-cost 4/3 elemental with spell damage +2. Yes, it doesn't have that Battlecry of discovering a dragon, but still, this thing is way too easy to kill because it's high cost and has low stats. Yes, the Discover Dragon is nice, but I'd rather play something else that discovers a dragon, because this thing is just going to die, which makes the spell damage +2 absolutely useless, because it's way too small at that cost. I think they could have very easily done a 3/3, and it would have been okay. Candle Breath. 6-cost rogue spell. Draw 3 cards, cost 3 less while you're holding a dragon. This card is insane. This card is absolutely insane. All you gotta do, hold a dragon, and you're flat out better than the baseline of drawing cards. Instead of 3-cost draw 2, you're doing 3-cost draw 3. Which is ridiculously strong. Yes, rogues don't really run too many dragons, but they might now, just because this card is so good. Or at least run like probably 1 dragon just for this ability. Because 3-cost drawing 3 is just insane. Corrosive Breath. 2-cost hunter spell. Deal 3 damage to a minion. If you're holding a dragon, it also hits the enemy hero. I honestly compare this to Cobra Shot, because Cobra Shot does the exact same effect, but costs 3 more. Wow, okay. The only precondition is the hunter has to be holding a dragon, which is the tougher part, because honestly, hunters don't run any dragons. So because of that, I can see why it costs so much cheaper then, because hunters don't really run dragons or anything. But it could be pretty solid then if they do. But we will see. I don't know if I really necessarily see this scene play, but it is a strong card. Just because it takes a 5-cost card effects, puts it into 2, and puts a small condition on it, but also makes it difficult because hunters don't run dragons, like, ever. 8-cost 12/12 dragon for warrior. Deathwing Mad Aspect. Battlecry, attack all other minions. Okay, this isn't necessarily... When I first saw this, I'm like, this is just a better Deathwing. No, it's not necessarily a better Deathwing. It could be, because it is trying to destroy the entire board like the original Deathwing did, but the original Deathwing also discarded your hand, and it always stayed as 12/12. This goes around and slowly loses health as it tries to clear the board, so this isn't necessarily a better Deathwing. It could be if there's nothing on the board, you're just playing 8-cost 12/12, boom. That's scary. But I honestly do see this seeing some sort of play. I think it could maybe go into Control Warrior, actually. That could very much be a possibility. Yeah. I don't know why I don't know how to freaking end these, like, cards. Just, that's a card! I don't know. No, but I do see this... seen some sort of play in, like, a Control Warrior, I think. Devoted Maniac. 4-cost 2/2 neutral. Rush. Battlecry, invoke Lockrot. I think they're I think with some of their invoke cards, they're being too cautious. Because this card sucks. I don't care which invoke you're getting, this is still way underpowered. A 4-cost 2/2 rush is garbage. I don't care if the invoke isn't worth it. It's not enough to actually be able to be worth it, exactly. So for that, I don't see it seeing any sort of play. Learned. Let's throw an ED in there. Learn Draknok. I think that's how you do it. 1-cost side quest. So a side quest is something new. You can have this at the same time as a normal quest. I've been trying to figure out exactly how it works. I don't know if it starts in your opening hand like a normal quest does. I'm assuming it does, but I don't actually know. I'm guessing it is, so I'm going to assume that is what the case is. So spend 8 mana on spells, reward, summon a 6/6 dragon. So side quests are a bit simpler to complete than a normal quest, which means you get a bit of a smaller reward. Which, summoning a 6/6 dragon for spending 8 mana on spells really isn't tough. Really, you're just getting a free 6/6 dragon for 1. Which I think is pretty good, pretty easy for mage to do. 5-cost 2/8 dragon for mage. Malygos, Aspect of Magic. So it seems, I'm thinking every single class is going to get an Aspect dragon, which is kind of cool. Well, Ysera wasn't. Ysera was Ysera Unleashed for Druid. Okay, so it seems like they're all going to get one legendary dragon, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. Battle Cry. If you're holding a dragon, discover an upgraded mage spell. I don't know exactly what it's talking about for an upgraded mage spell. The only thing I'm thinking of is, here's an upgraded ruby spellstone. That's all I can think of. I don't know what it exactly means by upgraded mage spell. I don't know if it's like, it's got 2 extra spell damage, or it's 2 effects combined or something. I'm honestly not sure. But I do see this scene. Honestly, I could see this still seeing a decent amount of play, whatever upgraded mage spell means. But stats aren't bad either. So getting another mage spell is always good. So honestly, just a decent card for mage. Primordial Explorer. 3-cost 2/3 Hunter Dragon. Dragon Hunter. Primordial Explorer. It's poisonous, and it has a battle cry of Discover a Dragon. See, this is very similar to the Azura Explorer, except this costs 1 cheaper, and instead of being spell damage plus 2, it's poisonous. And honestly, this card is much stronger, because a poisonous is way better than a friggin' spell damage plus 2 that's gonna die way too easily. So I think this one actually is much better. This could be the 1 or 2 dragons that Hunter runs to get that corrosive breath off, which I think that could very much be, because then this kind of fits more into a mid-rangey type deck. Sand Breath. 1-cost Paladin spell. Give a minion +1/+2. Give it Divine Shield if you're holding a dragon. Small card, small effect. Divine Shield if you're holding a dragon. Pretty decent. I'd say this is good for what it costs. I don't know what kind of deck it goes into, but good for the cost. Time Rip. 5-cost Priest spell. Destroy a minion. Invoke Lockrond. Okay, this card is just flat out better than Assassinate. That's what we're talking about here. This card is flat out better than Assassinate, but it's a weak version for Priest, because Priest has much better destroying minion cards, like Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Word Death are way better options to destroy minions than this. But it is flat out better than Assassinate. Plus, you also, because of the Invoke Lockrond. So I honestly think this will still see play in Priest decks, because more options to destroy minions easily, the better for Priest. Which means it could honestly it's probably going to see playing wild with Shadow Word Pain, Shadow Word Death, and this, so then you can get your Barns out and your other stuff that you want to freaking do for your Resurrection Priest in Wild. That's going to be a freaking nightmare. Toxic Reinforcements. 1 cost Hunter spell, another side quest. Use your hero power 3 times. Reward summon 3 1/1 Leper Gnomes. Pretty easy, actually, for hunters to do. This could very easily see play in an aggressive type of hunter. Probably not a mid-range hunter, which mid-range hunter, maybe mid-range hunter, because mid-range hunters are typically aggressive too. But then it is also one turn that your first turn is used to set this up then, though, too. That's the problem. Because you set this up, and then there goes a turn for you to be aggressive. Now you have to wait to start being aggressive. I mean, once you start the once you get the ball rolling, it's going to be really aggressive, because this card helps with that aggression later on. Because instead of playing 1 Leper Gnome on the first turn, you're playing a side quest of using your hero power 3 times, and then you're going to get more Leper Gnomes out of it later on. So it is more value, but it's hard because it's meant to be aggressive is what it kind of looks like. So I honestly am not sure where to typically put this. Waxadread. Right? Maybe. 5 cost, 7/5 rogue card, dragon tag. Death Rattle, shuffle a candle into your deck that resummons Waxadread when drawn. This is actually just a flat-out better version of Malorn, as I was looking at. Because Malorn costs 2 more, is bigger, but you have to pay the cost to summon Malorn every single time. This one just, you draw the candle, he comes back. Also, this thing can destroy Malorn anyway, because Malorn has 7 health. This has 7 attack. They perfectly kill each other, but when you draw that candle, he just goes back out. When you draw Malorn, you have to pay that 7 again. So I think this is just a flat-out better version of Malorn. So I could see this seeing some type of play, I think, in a rogue. Tempo? Maybe a tempo rogue. Not sure, though. And last but not least, Fate Weaver. 4 cost, 3/6 dragon. Battlecry, if you've invoked twice, reduce the cost of cards in your hand by 1. Which is really good. Reducing the cost of cards in any way is amazing in Hearthstone. So reducing them by 1 for just doing something, and reducing whenever you feel like. You just play this for 4, reduce cards in your hand. This is just really good. So technically, you could be paying like -2 mana to play this, because you just reduced 6 cards in your hand by 1. So making this technically cost like -2. Which is crazy sounding, but I very much think this will see play very easily. And you can run 2 of them. You can run 2 of these. So I very much think the Priest Glockrond is probably going to have a better chance of being run just because of Fate Weaver. So that's all the cards that have been released so far. I know there's other ones that have actually been released that I didn't talk about. I'll talk about those in a different video. But I keep track of what the official Hearthstone site has on it. So it doesn't have some of those other newer ones that they released for some reason. Because everything I went through is exactly what's on the Hearthstone the official Hearthstone site right now. So I don't know what exactly they're doing. They're like, well, we could put not all of them on, but release some cards, but not put them on our site, because I don't exactly know what they're doing. Because I know there's been a Paladin Dragon that was released. There was a neutral demon that they don't have on there either. It's weird, but we'll get to those eventually anyway, so you won't have to worry about it. But I will see you again to talk about more Descent of Dragons. This will not take up any slots on Friday. This will just be some extra stuff that I throw out throughout the week. Fridays will still be dedicated to Wind Waker or Mario Baseball. I try not to throw Hearthstone with Grand Paladin on Fridays too much, but sometimes that does happen. But generally, I like to save Fridays for my single player content or my co-op content with my brother. So I will see you all next time for some more Descent of Dragons.